Hello, and welcome to Voices Unleashed. This is Alexandra Babel, and I have a big smile on my face because I have a friend here with me today. This is a show in which we celebrate singers and artists and others and their influence on our community and beyond. And with me today, I have a very special guest, Nico Boesten. Thank you so much for joining me today. This is fun.
No doubt.
How long has it been since we've seen each other? A long time. Yeah, we go way back. So Nico's mom and dad and my husband and I went to the same church a long, long time ago. And then sadly, your father passed away and your mom became really a very influential person in my life. I've never really had a chance to tell her all about that.
I didn't really know.
That's the first thing that I remember about you. And then the second thing is your journey as a loving husband and father to a husband to a beautiful woman named Ingrid, and your sad way of saying goodbye to her as she went to the next dimension, and your journey beyond that to continue with life, even though that was quite the experience. So we're calling this episode Respectfully Reckless because you didn't do anything the way other people do it. I think nothing that you've done seemed like anything that I've seen anyone else do. And you're on this show today because of your musicianship and your beautiful music, your original music that we will listen to a little later. But tell us a little bit about how you started as a musician, how you found yourself in Kelowna, and start with your relationship with your dad, and then go forward to your relationship with your wife and kids. Tell me all of that.
Oh man, okay, in 3 words or less.
Yes.
Well, my dad was a drummer. He was a little hippie drug dealer in Amsterdam, and then was a drummer. So I grew up playing the drums, and then my mom would force me to take piano lessons, and I would cry at the piano. I hated it as a little kid. But then, and then I was in Hawaii. I did this course, this program thing, and this random guy that was on our course. I was 15 at the time, and he was from Texas, and he was about to get on the plane. We had hung out for the summer, and he had this guitar, and he was about to get on, and he turns around, and he starts crying, and he says, "God told me to give this to you." And so he gave me his guitar, and so I started playing guitar.
Wow. What do you mean, on a plane?
Well, this is in the airport.
Oh,
we were saying goodbye to him. So and then I started playing and writing, and moved to Holland, moved to Amsterdam, and that's where I kind of started some little bands here, some fun bands with guys like Ari and Andrew.
Yeah.
And started recorded some of my first stuff on this little 4-track recorder in Amsterdam, and making tapes like one at a time. It's wicked.
Back in the day.
Yeah. And so kind of from there, and ended up getting married out there, and then moved back to. That's where I married Ingrid.
That's where you met Ingrid.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh.
Yeah, my dad married us out there, and then we moved to Minneapolis in Connecticut for 10 years. So in Minneapolis, I had worked actually for a church, and I was doing some music there and working with youth, and that's where I kind of really started. I did my first CD, doing that whole thing, and then moving out to Connecticut, and that's where I really tried to. Was trying to be a bit of a rock star.
Right.
Trying to make it happen. And doing, just kind of had a solid band there, and wrote a bunch of my own tunes, and did a little trip down to Nashville, and played a bunch of just hundreds of shows. And then come back here. And then it was like one day the music was just kind of like, we quit as a band, and I didn't really play for about 18 years. It was kind of my...
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it was just like over. I was like, kind of over it. I mean, I played in my living room and stuff.
Right.
But I didn't play shows.
Right.
Like I wasn't really like, let's do the music thing.
Oh.
But that just kind of refired up a couple of years ago.
Wow. What do you think rekindled all that?
Well, it was kind of like when my kids had moved out. I was empty nester.
Are there adults already?
Yeah,
Oh
my
my
son
gosh.
just got engaged last
Oh my
week.
gosh. I
Yeah.
remember when they were little. What happened at the
So
time? Oh.
yeah, it was I mean, it was just kind of wild time, and that's why like the I mean, the title of the show, Respectfully Reckless.
Yeah.
Like my buddies call me reckless, on the bike and on different things, and I like to be. I mean, I like to take chances, and I like to
A bit of an
do.
adrenaline
Yeah,
junkie.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Shoot. Sometimes I wish I wasn't, but it's
Didn't
there.
you hurt yourself recently?
Well, I broke my back a year and a half ago.
I think I saw that
Yeah,
online.
yeah.
It's no big
Did
deal. I
did a
broke my back.
little doink
Oh,
into a tree, and
oh, oh.
but we're good. We're
Yeah,
still
that's
moving around.
amazing.
Yeah, and so my kids had moved out, and I was like, what am I going to do now with my life? And I was doing the production company thing
Right,
for
NHP
yeah,
or so. Yes,
New
yeah.
Horizon Productions.
Yes.
So, and I was like, so I just took off in my truck. I bought this rooftop tent, and I took off across the continent. I drove to the Atlantic Ocean. Saw
All
a
by
bunch
yourself?
of my, yeah, just
Oh my gosh.
saw a bunch of my buddies. This is in 2019. And then I was like, well, what am I going to do? And I had done some coaching. I had done some coach training. One of my besties is a coach, and
Coaching, like
life coaching,
coaching?
yeah, clarity coaching, whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'd done some training from 2013 on, and I was like, actually, I love this stuff. I love working with people.
Of course.
And so I kind of decided when I got back, well, we're gonna move on from the production thing. And then I was like, oh yeah, music. Oh, maybe I could make kind of part of a living playing music again, because I was just sort of fired up again about it.
Oh my gosh. Tell me a little bit about that coaching thing. Is this one-on-one? Is it grouped?
mainly one-on-one. That's kind of my main thing, is working one-on-one. And so yeah, men or women. Most of my clients happen to be men, entrepreneurs.
Right. What kind of person comes to you for coaching? What is the thing that brings them to you? Who needs that?
Yeah, that's a great question. That's a common question. Is like there's a restlessness. That's sort of the common thread that I've noticed. Is everyone has this little like, I want something to shift or change, and some people don't know, or a big question like, should I quit my job, or what do I do now that I've made all this money, or should I leave my wife, or should I, what do I do? Like, or there's something like I'm not satisfied fully, and I want something more, and I kind of I need some help figuring out, well, what is it that I really want to do next?
Right. You think a lot of people are lacking purpose?
Yeah, I think there's these waves where you have a job, you have your focus, and you do this, or you raise your kids, and it's like, oh yeah, we're focused, and then that kind of swell sort of ends, that wave is over, and then it's like, well, now what? What gave me juice back then isn't doing it for me now.
Yeah, I really get it.
Yeah, I'm sure you do.
I get it.
Music.
I get it. On and ongoing. I was another guest in this show. We talked a little bit about we think that it's David and Goliath, and then you slay the giant, and then all is well. But it's actually way more like a pendulum. This is great. Whoa, this is not great. Yeah. Well, now we're back to this is pretty good, and then back to this is suffering again, right? It's like this back and forth thing. And I think we're all on that pendulum of some kind. I jokingly said to you before we started rolling that I still haven't figured out what I want to do when I grow up.
Yeah.
So,
well, you're doing this.
So yeah, it's really fun. Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's really fun, and I'm grateful for this opportunity. So when somebody comes to you for that kind of help, what do you do? Do you take an assessment? Are you learning from them, their history? What do you do? Pretend that I'm, coming to you for the first time.
Yeah. So I normally have, I call it a chemistry call. So I have like a 20-minute free, like, hey, let's just make sure we're on the same page, figure out what the expectation, what do you want? And some people are like, oh yeah, actually what you're looking for, that might be more focused on therapy, or yeah, this is a good fit, and this is how I roll. I kind of explain how the process goes. And I do I send out a little packet, a discovery packet, I call it. So it's like 13 or 14 questions to help both of us get really clear on what is it that you want, what are the changes that you're looking for, where are you at, a little bit of history. And then we go. So I get that, and then our first session is sort of based off of that. And then we go wherever it really feels important to go for that person.
So it's really intuitive and sort of bespoke to the individual.
Yeah.
How does your music relate to that? Is your music cathartic?
Yeah, I mean, so actually what I've also done this with clients, is I've actually written songs with them.
Oh
And
my
they're not, when
goodness.
they're not musical at all. Some, most of them aren't, but they're like, oh, I'd love to write a song, but we base it off of the coaching stuff.
Oh,
And you know this as a musician, it's like sometimes you go through something in life, or a lot of times you have this emotion, and it needs, and you could write it down, you could write a letter, you could write a poem, but when you add music, a melody to it, sometimes it needs to be kind of screamed or sung quietly, or whatever, and absolutely it's healing.
100%.
It's healing. Sometimes I'll sing, a lot of times I'll be writing a song, and I'll just break down,
Right.
and it's
what a visceral response once you put music to it, right? Yeah, I think I really understand that. So I know that you brought a couple of clips with you today.
Oh, yeah,
so
yeah.
why don't you set up the first one? I think it's original music, isn't it?
Yeah.
Go ahead and tell us all about the first one.
Yeah. So the first one, I believe what we're going to show is a kind of a produced, fully produced song.
Oh.
And that was, it's called Align. And every year I come up with a word. I don't do, what do you call them, like new resolutions, but I always come up with a word for the year.
That's good.
And so my word, this was 2 years ago now, was align. And so I wrote a song called Align.
Align with?
Align, align with your, with my values, what's important to me. And it was just a way to kind of keep me like, hey, Nico, are we still on the right path here? And every once in a while, it's like, you need a little, So my buddy Nate helped me film this on my motorbike, like on West Side Road. It's one of my favorite feels. But yeah, so that's one song.
I have seen this, and I am looking forward to us sharing this with the audience. I'll look forward to sharing this clip right now.
Oh, right now. All right.
At a time, with grace on my side, learning to fly from the inside. How sweet it is to know where.
Wow. I've seen the whole thing, and it's very emotional. It's very easy listening. There's this comfort to it, and kind of a sense of trust in the process. And I've watched you throughout the years, and not an easy journey, brother. But you've had this way of trusting. Can you say anything more about this idea of trusting versus fighting the process?
Yeah, that's a good one. Well, especially, I think, related to death. I was just talking about this yesterday with a buddy, about how you can fight. Yeah, you can kind of fight or try and control everything. And it's funny because speaking about my dad, it's his birthday today too.
Oh.
And I remember, that process of losing my dad, and it was like I was really like, oh, we're got to do this, and did all the things and praying and trying to gather the troops and trying to do everything.
Yeah.
And it was funny because, funny might not be the word, but it's like round two. So he died, and then when Ingrid got sick, I really felt this. I'd say, majority of the time, this trust that we're going to be okay. We're like, it's going to be okay. Like,
how old were the kids?
So they were. I was just telling the story yesterday.
Yeah.
They were 9 and 10 when I remember parked in front of right down the road in front of Choices, where I got the phone call saying, yeah, she's got cancer. We got to operate, and it was like a 4-year journey from there. And I was there, in the car telling my I was crying. I was telling my daughter and my son. I was like, okay, this is the reality, and it doesn't mean Mama's going to die, but this is just a part of the deal. And it's like the process of being open and emotional, just being, this is the reality, and it could go either way.
Right.
Could go either way, but to trust. I love that you brought that up. The trust versus fighting is like, to trust is just a more peaceful process.
Yeah.
It's a more peaceful way of living.
Might be a little less unnecessary suffering to just trust, although it's very difficult to do.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's the Buddhist philosophy that I've heard is like, pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. Suffering is not definitive. So
I have to say, Ingrid was one of a kind, and that funeral, because I was there, she planned the whole thing out.
Oh, yeah.
She had all these different musicians prepare songs for her funeral.
Oh yeah.
Remember?
Oh yeah.
That and they all sang songs about Ingrid, and that was the most beautiful funeral. She's never to be forgotten. She was one of a kind. I'll tell you, that woman. That woman, I'll tell you, wild ride with that woman, right? Right.
So hardcore,
Yeah.
But talk about trust, It's like
she did have that. She did have that, didn't she? She had that wild trust when we were all freaking out. She was like, "What's your problem?" She had this real
fear,
calm about her. It was amazing. Tell us about your next clip.
Oh yeah, okay. So this next one I wrote just a few months ago. It was recorded by someone. A friend of mine in a pub that I was playing at just a few months ago. I wrote it on the beach. I did this leadership course in California, so I drove down there a couple times, and I wrote it on this. It's called Schoolhouse Beach. I'll never forget it. It was beautiful, overlooking the ocean, right outside of San Francisco, and it was I was in this relationship, and there was a lot of tension and trying to figure things out. And this was, so I called it River. And that's, this song was about my relationship. And I remember writing it and playing it for her, their kind of live. But it was, it's really cool environment. But.
Yeah, the journey continues with you, right? That wasn't the end. It just keeps going, right? I look forward to this clip. I don't think I've seen this one.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
That you love. Is it one or the other? Is it flight or fight? 'Cause I love you.
That is some sweet falsetto. Now, as you know me, as a classical trained vocalist with teaching, that is some crisp, fresh, pure falsetto. Well done. That's beautiful. That's beautiful music. How can people reach you if they want to reach you, Nico?
NicoCoaching.com. And that has access to my story, my music, gigs coming up. NicoCoaching.com is probably the easiest.
Great, and we'll put a little tag at the end of the episode about that. We'll have a little program note about how we can reach you.
Cool.
And is there anything coming up that you'd like people to know about, or are you just going to find you around town?
Well, I'm planning. I have 3 gigs this weekend. And
where?
One at the end of my street at a block party, and then Friend Winery.
Friend?
On Saturday, and
that's great.
Sunday at Shoot Lake Lodge.
You're a busy musician. That's awesome.
Yeah, got a bunch of things going on.
Well, thank you so much for being here today, and all the best for your continued success. I mean, you're a story about trust. I'll tell you that. You are kind of respectfully reckless. I recognize that in you over these several decades that I've known you. Thank you so much.
Thanks for
Thank
having
you.
me.
And thank you so much for the team here to let this show go on. We're having a great time doing it, and we'll see you all next time.